Hello, everybody. Welcome to the new semester. This is Dr. Terrell. Most of you know me pretty well, but in case there's anybody who hasn't taken my classes before, I am a professor in merchandising. This class is called Special Topics in Merchandising. This is a new course. We actually developed this course because we wanted to be in touch with the technologies and the trends that are changing in the fashion industry. So you guys all know fashion industry is going through a lot of changes. There are a lot of new developments. The AI technology has completely transformed the fashion marketing. So in this class, we're actually going to cover social media marketing for fashion and interiors. And for that purpose, we are going to talk a little bit about the history of fashion marketing, how we traditionally did marketing in fashion and in interiors. And then we will talk a little bit about how we do it nowadays and maybe how it may evolve in the future. So this course is going to give you more insight about how to do your marketing. If you work for a company, if you have your own business, if you make your own products, this course will help you promote your product and do your marketing in a more effective way. And I'm sure some of you have taken social media courses before, but this course is more relevant to the fashion industry, interior marketing as well. They are all related to each other anyway. I have a syllabus and that will be available to you on Blackboard, so I'm not going to go through it. Now I will go ahead and start. In this first chapter, we're going to talk a little bit about the digital disruption of the fashion industry. So this is something that has led us to starting to teach this kind of course because it's really important that you understand how the fashion marketing used to be and how it has changed. Because if you understand how that happened, then you will have better insight into how we should do it now. The fashion industry is undergoing a digital transformation, and all of those technologies have completely changed the way fashion companies operate and how the consumers are engaged with the products or with the manufacturers or even fashion designers. So we'll talk a little bit about the fashion landscape before social media. So if you look into the times, most of you are probably too young to remember that, but in the past we had the traditional media, which is magazines, radio, and television, maybe billboards. Traditional media dominance, what I mean by that is fashion trends were primarily influenced by traditional media outlets like magazines, newspapers, and television. Designers, brands, and models relied on those platforms to showcase their work and influence consumer preferences. We had fashion weeks and fashion shows. We still have them, but in the past, fashion weeks were in major cities like Paris, Milan, New York, London, and designers presented their collections to a limited audience of industry professionals, journalists, and buyers. Not everybody was allowed in those shows. The editorial control. Editors and fashion critics held significant power in shaping trends and determining what was in or out. Their opinions had a considerable impact on consumer choices. Celebrity endorsements. Celebrities played a vital role in popularizing certain styles. Designer collaborations with celebrities were common and often led to new trends. Limited access. Fashion shows and events were exclusive and they were invite only. The general public didn't have much access to these events or to the world of high fashion. We had longer fashion cycles. Trends evolved at a much slower pace due to the time required for information dissemination through traditional media channels. Fashion seasons were more distinct. Local influence. Fashion trends often had more localized influence, with distinct styles emerging in different regions and different cultures. It couldn't reach to the entire world in one click. Word of mouth. Recommendations from friends, family, and personal interactions had a more significant impact on fashion choices. Limited interaction. There was limited direct interaction between designers, brands, and the consumers. Feedback and consumer insights were slower to reach fashion creators. Less diversity in representation. Traditional media had limitations in representing diversity in terms of body types, races, and genders. Showroom and retail focus. Fashion was primarily experienced through brick and mortar stores, showrooms, and catalogs. So the emergence of social media completely changed all of that. So one of the things we think about the digital revolution or digital disruption of the fashion industry is that the internet democratized the fashion industry. Now, it's not just the editors or the fashion critics who decided which trends consumers should be exposed to, but it was the general public who had a say. First, it was the blogs. The bloggers were pretty effective, and they were almost competing with the traditional press. There were style sharing communities, user-generated content starting to happen, and then the nature of runway completely changed. The runways were now being live streamed. We had virtual runways, and there were a lot of other things. And then the confirmation of a trend through online engagement. So with the online engagement of general public, the trends evolved in a completely different way. Booth Moore is a senior editor and a fashion reporter. She said, social media has allowed everyone to become a fashion critic. I think the ramifications of that have been both good and bad. On the plus side, an unprecedented number of people are exposed to fashion now, even fashion they could never dream of affording. And by drawing people into the industry, social media has helped make fashion a true part of pop culture in the same way film, TV, and music are, because it can be consumed on social media at the same time it's consumed in real life. Social media has also created a platform for lesser-known designers to break into the fashion world, which has disrupted the traditional top-down model of designer to media to consumer and made fashion more democratic and trends less rigid. On the minus side, I don't always think the dialogue and engagement on social media about fashion is that constructive. Sometimes looks are dismissed without knowing the story behind them or work that went into them in an effort to boil a comment down to 140 characters or a quick digestible quip or image. And the way clothing and appearance are critiqued can be so harsh, it almost reaches the level of hate speech. So social media has a positive and a negative impact, but it definitely disrupted the whole way we do marketing. The fashion shows and the runway has completely changed. For example, if you guys have seen the Valentino's show, they have this appearance by Owen Wilson and Ben Stiller. And it was the most tweeted Paris Fashion Week show with tweets peaking at 740 a minute. And this is how the runway has changed. They live streamed it. They had appearances by celebrities, and it made a huge difference. And it reached to so many people that the traditional media outlets could never dream of reaching. There's also one other aspect of this, the evolution of fashion intelligence. This is more about how to gain more insight into what is happening in the ground level. So if there's a trend, how much is it accepted? How many people are into this kind of trend? Now you can actually do the data analysis. You can count the tweets, look at the Instagram posts and the likes, and you can actually tell how much a product is being loved by consumers. If you're a manufacturer or you're a fashion brand, there are so many areas where you can go to get some data about your products. For example, you can find dimensions of the product, the positive versus negative. You can get some market insight by looking at different retailers and how much they're selling similar products. There's also the rise of e-commerce. The rise of e-commerce has totally revolutionized the fashion industry. And as a person who always shopped in the brick and mortar stores or preferred to shop in those stores, I somehow find myself being forced to shop online many times nowadays because it's more available, it's much easier, you don't have to get out of your house, and you can even use your phone now. I used to do all my online shopping on my desktop computer, but now things are so available on the phone with apps and other types of exposures that gets you on your phone that you can order things online. Social media influencers obviously have become one of the key players in the fashion industry. They have the power to influence consumer purchasing decisions, and they can shape trends. And fashion brands are now collaborating with these influencers to reach a wider audience because, if you have 200,000 followers, obviously just collaborating with you as an influencer will reach those products to 200,000 people right away. And I'll give you an example of that. I went to Egypt last summer, and when I was there, one of my friends said, "Oh, I'm following this page on Instagram, and they posted about this place that is really exciting and you should visit when you're in Egypt." So I said, okay, let's just go there because we didn't really know where to go. We were just on the beach on the Red Sea, and we looked at the Instagram post. We found the place, we found the address, we got a taxi, we went there, and wow, we were shocked at how amazing that place was. We would never be able to find that on our own because, I mean, it was just two of us. We didn't know much about Egypt. We didn't speak the language. So this gives you the opportunity to explore places that you could have never found otherwise. So social media has a pretty big power in influencing people and reaching bigger audiences. This is Alex Badia from Women's Wear Daily. He's the style director. Said social media has become the biggest transformation that we have seen in the fashion industry since I can remember. I think the introduction of See Now, Buy Now in Fashion Week will continue to disrupt the industry. The whole fashion system has been turned upside down because of social media. The direction of fashion is now in the power of the consumer. So this is what I mean by the internet and digital marketing democratizing the fashion industry, because now the power is in the consumer directly. Digital disruption is also driving sustainability in the fashion industry because consumers are becoming more conscious of the environmental impact of fast fashion. In the past, people weren't so aware of those things, and now it's reaching a lot more people. Fashion brands are now adopting more sustainable practices, and they're using technology to reduce waste and carbon footprint. So basically, what I want to do in this class is we're going to have a lecture for every week, and I want you to go on Blackboard and to contribute in the discussions that I'm going to create, because I want everybody to have some kind of feedback to discuss with the classmates about the certain topics and certain questions that I'm asking on the forum. And we're also going to have one final project where I would like everybody to create a social media platform. I'm going to tell you about all the details of this. So I will have a social media account, and I will give you the password to that, and everybody will post information there. So basically what we are going to do is practice and do what we are learning on social media directly. Now, this class is not going to teach you how to be better in social media, how to improve your Instagram page or anything like that. This is more focused on marketing efforts. So if you are working for a company and running their social media, or if you were producing your own product and trying to advertise that product on social media, this is going to give you more insight, and this will teach you how to do that. Another fun thing about this class is that you can use ChatGPT and artificial intelligence apps as much as you like in this class. There's no limitation, no restriction. I will actually encourage you to use AI. I also want to mention one thing. This class will have very short videos. I will try to keep them at 20 minutes max. And the quizzes, the discussions will be very short. So I think it would be such a waste if you ignored the discussions or the quizzes, because you're going to lose points for no reason. I mean, it's going to only take a few minutes of your time to complete those. So make sure you don't miss any of those and make sure you complete every assignment. I hope this will be an exciting and fun class. All right, I will see you guys in our next lecture.